Christmas is right around the corner, and for a long time now I've not been celebrating Christmas, and I just wanted to reflect upon this because maybe I'll end up changing my mind in the near future, and I just want to be able to look back at what I'm thinking about right now because it's always interesting to look back at yourself and to see the things that you believed in. And one of my favorite pastimes that I really document in this channel is asking questions and challenging perceptions, which of course makes me some sort of an outlier or a troublemaker in the real world. There's several reasons why I don't celebrate Christmas, some linked to religion, but also linked to me as a firstborn daughter. Because this year I really honed in on becoming a retired firstborn daughter. I find that it's very interesting how it affects different aspects of my life. And when I really look back at when I really stopped celebrating Christmas, I would say it's when I go to university. I really didn't stop at university, but the interest of Christmas itself really started waning because we'd close school on 23rd December, and by the time you're coming home you're extremely tired, you still have the exam hangover, so it wasn't really quite interesting for me. And then after school I immediately went into work, and it was the same way. We were working until 23rd December, and then we'd get like a half day from 24th December, and then 25th December was also a holiday, 26th was a holiday, 27th you were back in the office. And of course when you are working, especially in the corporate 9 to 5, you rarely get time for yourself, and so these days were just so precious, and I would just stay at home and just sleep. I didn't even register in my head that this is Christmas. When I left corporate Kenya, I immediately went abroad. I remember the first Christmas there was absolutely debilitating because I was experiencing my first winter, and it was the worst thing ever. And I was also alone. I didn't know anyone. I was in a small town in France. I mean, it's not so much of a small town, but still, it wasn't a town that had a lot of Kenyans. And I was just one of those unlucky people that didn't have their honeymoon phase when they moved abroad. Because the moment you got there, it was cool, and then it's culture shock, and then it's winter, and you're like, there are too many things being thrown at me at once. Of course, didn't have time to even recognize that, oh my god, it's Christmas, because I was just like, it's very cold and I do not know why I came here. The following Christmases while in France, I didn't really put a lot of meaning to it. I think this is because when it comes to European Christmases, it's really not attached to religion. It's more like a mood, because the Christmas decorations start on November 1st. Like, they have 2 months of Christmas, and I find that the objective for Christmas, especially in these European countries, or should I say Western countries, it's more for capitalism, to push people, you know, to buy gifts, all these things. But it's also a way of just distracting people from the bad weather, because winter is horrendous. Let me tell you, when it comes to winter, there is no way someone can explain to you that kind of cold. It's something that you have to experience, because if you come from a country like Kenya, there is no cold you've ever experienced that is close to winter. We're talking about the kind of cold that seeps into your bones. We're talking about going about 3 months without ever feeling your legs. And yes, this is absolutely possible, because rent prices are high, electricity prices are high, and during winter you need to be heating your apartment. That means that you need to be paying extra for electricity, but you don't have that because you're a broke student. So you just have to make do with having cold feet for 3 months. Can you imagine living like that? Anyway, it really took a long time for me to get to a point where I didn't celebrate Christmas anymore. And last year, that was the first Christmas I was at home after a very long time of being away from home. And I remember just being like, I'm not going to do the things that I used to do when I was young. And this brings me to the fact that I don't celebrate Christmas anymore, because as a firstborn daughter and as a girl, I was always a servant to my family during the Christmas holidays, and it just doesn't apply to me as a girl. It applies to many women. During those holidays, you're expected to be the one that cooks for everyone. You are cleaning, the guests are coming, you are taking care of them. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm the one that is preparing all those things for other people to celebrate, but what about me? At the moment I decided that I'm just not going to do things that I consider unnecessary, because for me, I think it's unnecessary to just push myself to ensure people are eating special food. You know, for breakfast you have to wake up early. They want to eat chapati, they want to eat mandazi, or they want to eat something that they saw on TV, and it's upon you to figure out how to cook it, and you have to do it at a good time because they have to go to church at 9. Then you also have to go to church. After the service is done, you have to come back immediately because you need to be thinking about what are they going to eat for lunch. And of course it has to be something very special that they've never eaten, because this is a special day. It's Christmas Day, the day that Jesus was born. And after they've eaten, you have to do the dishes, and before that, oh, you have guests that are coming because, oh my god, they haven't seen you in a year. Oh, and of course they have to eat something special, something that they probably have never thought about in their own homes, because they need to remember how they came to your home and they had this thing that is kind of strange, something that they only hear in the movies. And after that, you have to do a lot of cleaning, and of course think about dinner, something different from breakfast and lunch, and you're the one that is doing all of that. The moment I realized that I was not celebrating Christmas and I was basically a servant that is helping other people celebrate Christmas, I was like, I want no part of this. And last year was actually the first time that I decided not to do anything. And I was like, oh, people are okay. So all this time I was just being pushed to do things that were completely unnecessary. And it's actually not just the cooking. I remember when I was younger, it was my job to decorate the home so that it can look like Christmas. I was the one who was blowing the balloons, and I had to do all of that on 24th at night because people want to wake up on Christmas Day and see this new decoration. And basically I was doing it on my own because my brothers were younger, and obviously if you have 3 boys running around, they're going to just pop out all the balloons because obviously they're children. But I was also a child and I was doing all of that. What really took me aback, especially last year, is when I brought up the idea of who is going to decorate the house, and all of a sudden people are like, oh, decorations are not that important. I mean, Christmas is just one day. And I'm like, so all these years I was being made to do things that are not important. And I realized, oh, when other people, especially the men, they want to have the absolute best things, but they don't want to be the ones doing those absolute best things because they know it takes a lot of work. But they're really committed to gaslighting women into thinking that the things that you're doing are important. So all those years I was being gaslighted into thinking that, oh my god, these decorations are so important. If you don't do this, you are doing a travesty to the entire family. So I used to do things that I didn't like, and no one was helping me because it was my job as a girl. But now those same people that required those things are the same ones saying that, oh, this decoration is not even that important. And so it has really been very easy for me to just be like, I'm not doing these things. And if I'm not doing all these things that is tied to Christmas, it means that Christmas is not that important to me anymore. I feel like my accent is just going up and down. Is it because I'm watching YouTube videos of people from different parts of the world? Side note, just look at my hair. How beautiful my hair looks. I've actually filmed it. I'm going to be posting it on Instagram. I am actually trying to build my Instagram, so if you want to follow me there and my hair escapades, I'll be doing more hair videos there. Now to the other reason why I don't celebrate Christmas anymore. This is connected to religion. I would say that the moment that I started really pushing myself away from religion is when all the things that are tied to religion stopped making sense to me. Christmas is part of that. When you look at the history of Christmas origins, it's tied to pagan origins and Roman cultures. There's very little spirituality or religiousness around the origins of Christmas. So for me, that is pretty straightforward. Don't believe in religion anymore because I found my own strength in my own spirituality and connection to the higher power. I have no need for religion. That means that everything that religion tells does not work on me anymore. I've really been thinking about when we were younger, we used to be very excited to go to church during Christmas. And I've realized it wasn't really about celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ. It's because, especially in a lot of African cultures, Christmas is really tied to capitalism, just like the European Christmas. Capitalism and the culture of showing off. So Christmas was really the day that you went to church to show off the new dress that you were bought. That's why you always see that a lot of children are pushing their parents to buy them new clothes, because that is the only day that you can show the latest clothes that you were bought. I remember I enjoyed this, and my mother, she used to have a friend who would go to London and she would buy those very cute dresses, and they used to have hats, and then the shoes would be little pumps, and then you'd wear them with laced socks. My goodness, I used to look like a princess. And just going to church, and the moment you walk in and everyone is turning to look at you, look at her, she is from the Kangaroo family. But of course, the tradition dwindled as we got older, because one thing they don't tell you about getting siblings is how that leads to a decline in the lifestyle that you were living. I think the last time that my parents bought me a dress for Christmas was when I was 10. That incidentally was the year my youngest brother was born. Life became quite hard after that. The moment that they stopped buying all these new clothes, well, Christmas lost a lot of sense, because now you have nothing to show off. I remember there was a point that people were now getting into wearing trousers, and the church literally became like a fashion show. Oh, who has the best legs? Who has the most beautiful and tightest trousers? Anyway, that's about it. That's the story of why I don't celebrate Christmas anymore. The process of growth always amazes me, but most importantly is just interrogating why we do things or why we don't do things anymore, and how that has an impact on us, because it's not only fun, but it also gives you perspective on why you are the way you are. And if you're celebrating Christmas, well, Merry Christmas to you. And to those of us who are not celebrating Christmas, well, happy resting, happy using your time for yourself, happy doing whatever it is that you want, because you deserve it, and no one should tell you that you don't.